personally visited every county in New York State, listening to people's concerns. The Sharpe Way is a show where answers, solutions, and common ground can be found so that together we can forge a new way forward. The Sharpe Way is the way to mutual respect, where no one has to convert to be heard, because you can be as liberal or as conservative as you want, as long as you aren't forcing your beliefs on others. Welcome to Sharpe Way Radio.
Oh, welcome to Sharpe Way Radio, WYSL, Rochester, New York, 585-346-3000 is the number if you want to call after the first break. You know, I was with my daughter recently. My daughter is 20 and went back to college just last week. But she was with me for a couple of weeks during the summer. And at one point, we were walking about 2 weeks ago in Manhattan. And she noticed something. She noticed a whole lot of African migrants who were vendors selling things on the streets, street vendors. Now, if you've been to Manhattan for years, that was not an uncommon thing. You would often find migrants selling things on the streets. Not uncommon. The amount was uncommon. The amount of migrants selling things was uncommon. And she said, Dad, I don't remember it being like this. I don't remember this. Like, she's been in college about a year or so. And she's like, I don't remember it being like this. I'm like, I know. It's way worse than it's ever been. And once in a while, you see some guy or gal selling something on the street, common across all of New York, Manhattan too. But she said, wow, it's like everywhere, nothing. Where are the actual stores? And that was her other question. There were so many stores that seemed to be out of business or closed, and others that were just basically empty. So she looks at the store and says, hey, Dad, you talk about so many stores in New York City just being kind of money laundering, places, not really stores. And I said, yeah, the black market has always existed in New York, but now it's massive. It's huge. I then remembered a video that I had done when I ran for governor in 2018. In this case, it was about Astoria, Queens, where I actually live, and how everything's changing. All of the mom and pop stores are going away, and they're being replaced by franchises. Well, that's true, but in certain cases, not even franchises. So how in the world did this happen? What's going on here? Why would there be so many people selling things on the street and stores that are either out of business or basically empty, meaning nobody's in there, or they just keep putting up new signs saying new management, no one buys anything, no one's ever in there? What does that mean? It means that New York City has gone out of its way to create a black market. What government does great, and New York government is the best at it, is creating an industrial complex around bad things. Industrial complex around solving the bad thing, even when they create the bad thing. Where did this actually come from? Number one place it came from was the lockdowns in 2020 and 2021. The second that happened, once there were lockdowns, at that point, people started losing their businesses. They started getting desperate. They started having to find other ways of making money. The landlords wanted them to. Not just that, the government kind of wanted them to, because most of the lockdowns was just virtue signaling anyway. So we want a virtue signal, but please make money. Don't leave, because you got to pay taxes. We got to get paid. We're government. We're grifters. So if you don't pay your taxes, we're in trouble. So somehow stay, but let us crush you. That probably should be New York State's motto. Somehow stay, but let us crush you. Yeah, that's a good motto. That kind of fits us. So that's what we're trying to do. So once they shut it all down, they then decided, okay, we're going to kind of open it up, but make so many rules that we can still fine you and fee you into oblivion. Then they punished the banks too, believe it or not, at the local level. So they had to go a higher level, which of course they got bailed out, of course. So they started saying, wait a minute, this is not looking good. We don't have cheap labor. We don't have people working. What should we do? And they said, I have an idea. Let's bring 200,000 migrants in without any plan whatsoever. Let's just do that. And you might say, Larry, you're kidding. No, that happened. That literally happened. 200,000 came to New York City while New York City was desperately trying to recover. Commercial real estate destroyed, whether that's retail, whether that's office spaces, destroyed. Let's throw in 200,000 migrants. And you would say, Larry, that's dumb. Come on. That's dumb. Maybe it is, but you know what wound up happening? Those migrants, they're the ones who are paying all those rents now. I know you're going to say, wait a minute, Larry, that's impossible. There's no way that those migrants can. They're undocumented. They can't work legally. We have laws and rules. They would never do that. Well, you would be wrong. Because what's happening now? I'm some landlord. I can't get anybody to work in my stores. I can't get anybody to rent my stores out because I have horrible crime. I have a bad economy. So I'm screwed. I'm in debt back from the lockdowns. If I rent for too high legally, the bank is going to be mad at me. If I rent too low, the bank is mad at me because of those stupid rules they made up. So now what do? Well, here comes 70 migrants. They got cash. They have cash from 3 different places. One, a substantial chunk are just getting illegally, just shoplifting, stealing. Option 1. Option 2, serious mob work. And 3, free money from the government. Government giving them checks. Okay. So these 70 migrants say, hey, this storefront you have, we would like to sleep there while we're doing our other activities during the night. We want to sleep here during the day. And I go, I'm making no money. The government will never trash me for this. I can make 10 grand, 15 maybe, if I'm lucky, from some store owner who will just gamble on me. Or you guys can pay me 25 grand and I have literally no repercussion whatsoever. I'll take 25 grand. Thank you. So he takes 25 grand from 75 people, right? They're happy. He's happy. It's under the table. He pays no taxes on it. And they're not documented. They have no rights. Doesn't matter. Does the water run? Is it safe by fire codes? What do I care? Doesn't matter. And boom, it happens again and again and again and again. All I see is this happening. Well, there's something else there. All right. Well, what if I got a storefront and I want to at least act like I'm doing something real? All right. Tell you what I'm going to do. Hey, illegal people, gang members who are now using migrants, gang members who aren't migrants, but know they can use migrants because they're in such a bad spot, hire them. Why don't you hire them to go do bad things, then take the goodies from the bad things, put them in my store, and we'll launder them. What do you think? And he goes, that's a great idea. Now, the landlord says, wait, is that illegal? And the store owner goes, it's that or I don't pay my rent. And the landlord says, I see nothing. I don't know what you're talking about. Thank you for your rent check. This is how New York City encourages and grows the black market. Now, if you're a hardcore libertarian, you might say, hey, that's the free market, blah, 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 blah. In this case, you would be wrong because it isn't a free market. It's a black market. And why do you care about that? Here is why you care about that. Because New York is not legally a black market. It is a black market. It's illegal, which means there are no courts or cops. The way you enforce your contracts is street justice. And the problem with street justice is even people who aren't involved get hurt. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't want anybody getting hurt. But at least if you're voluntarily being in the mob and you get hurt, you made a choice. But what about the bystander? What about the family? What about the friends? What about people who didn't make that deal, who don't want to be involved in that? What about their neighborhoods that get destroyed, their property value that gets destroyed, the kids who get assaulted, who get stolen, all the things that happen? How about that? And New York has not only set it up, not only encouraged it, but is actively letting it grow and doing nothing about it and talking about things that don't matter, like we're going to teach black kids how to swim. I wish I was joking. I'm not. That is one of the priorities of our governor, Her Majesty, Queen Kathy I, first of her name, destroyer of the middle class, mandator of the jabs, banisher of the conservatives. All hail. She has decided that the most important thing is to teach black kids how to swim. I don't mind teaching black kids how to swim. I think it's amazing. Good, we should all know how to swim. But maybe the black market should be more important. Maybe crushing families should be more important. Maybe supporting entrepreneurs should be more important. Is it me? You tell me. 585-346-3000. Larry Sharpe, Sharpe Radio, WYSL, Rochester, New York. Back with your calls and the chat after the break.
Introducing a sobering and unavoidable truth. The latest advancements in artificial intelligence have made cyber attacks easier than ever before. Cyber criminals are relentlessly targeting your business right now, seeking the tiniest opening in your defenses to drain your accounts and steal sensitive data. Your finances and your customers' trust are on the line. Call the experts at Simple Tech Innovations now at 585-999-TECH to secure your business today. Don't wait until it's too late. Make the call today. 585-999-TECH.
This is a public alert. On Tuesday, November 5th, New Yorkers will vote on a proposal to amend the New York State Constitution. They're calling it the Equal Rights Amendment. Don't be fooled, it's anything but. This radical plan would change New York as we know it. It could completely erase girls' sports, empower the government over parents, further stripping away parental rights, and threaten senior discounts in housing. We must vote no on Prop 1. Learn more at protectkidsny.com. That's protectkidsny.com. Paid for by the Coalition to Protect Kids NY.
Sharpe Radio on the WYSL stations.
Oh, yes, it is Larry Sharpe. Sharpe Radio, WYSL, Rochester, Keith. New York. 585-346-3000. Thank you so much for joining me. And we are chatting about black markets in New York City, how they're actually supporting them, making them grow and encourage them. It is crazy. Let me grab a call if I could. I will grab Keith. How are you, sir?
I'm okay. Hopefully you and yours are okay too. I have two questions.
Okay.
Do you think Trump, whom I support with his real estate background, could go into New York City and turn it around? By example, he built that ski rink that no one ice skating rink that no one else seemed to be able to build. He did it in record time. Would he, just the way he thinks and masters things, first question, would you libertarians ever tie in with the Donald? And you said you had on your website all of these ideas, but you never really talk about the platform. So would libertarians throw in really the vernacular with Trump to turn around the Big Apple? And my second question has to do, and you alluded to it strongly at the end of the first segment. So I'll ask, do you think the Democrats are A-okay with the chaos that they have even deliberately created? Just so you know, Hochul was in Rochester yesterday with phony baloney answers to crime. It's because of their policies that crime is flourishing around the state. So that should say to everyone that the Dems are not serious people. It's like when President Reagan said, beware the man from the government who says, I'm here to help you, just like with phony baloney Chuck Schumer. The Dems create the problems, and Schumer, by example, shows up very quickly with big money, as Hochul did yesterday, try and correct the problems that they, the Dems, created to
Let me touch some of these, Keith. Let me touch some. First issue. I don't think Trump cares about New York State anymore at all, to be forward with you. I think, if anything, he'd like it to just go away. New York City, New York State in these last couple years has not been good to Trump at all. But you are right. He did make a lot of money here. That's when I met him probably 30 years ago, 20 years ago. I don't know him personally. I just met him once, like in a line with everybody else. And he wasn't running for office then. He was like still a mogul. I don't think he had his show yet. I don't think he had The Apprentice yet. He might have had The Apprentice at that point, but I don't think he did. So I don't think he would want to help at all. But not just that. Most of the larger real estate people are actually packing up and leaving New York State, which is terrible for us. We're losing a lot of people in finance and a lot of people in real estate. The buildings are being dumped like there's no tomorrow. Now, the only way it's going to eventually work is once they have enough power in the lobbying, they'll just get the rules to be changed for themselves. The thing that Trump did well in New York State is two things. I give him two things. One, his tenacity was insane. If you sued the Donald, you were going to be in court forever, and you knew it. He would never stop. He was tenacious in court. Most people surrendered because they knew they couldn't hold on. He would sue and countersue and double sue. He knows how to use lawfare in the real estate world. So that was one of his things. The second thing is he was boisterous, and he knew how to get press onto everything he did better than most. Most people who want to build things in New York State, New York City specifically, didn't want a spotlight on them. He wanted one on him. So I think those are the two ways that he really pushed forward and got things done in New York City, New York State. Do I think he would care now? No. I think he'd walk away and let it burn. That's just my view. New York has not been good to him, and I understand. Libertarians. My policies are not always libertarian policies. My policies are libertarian, meaning the libertarian-ish, but the party has its own platform and candidates have their own things. Do I think libertarians will get in line with Trump? Some already have. I think you see a lot of libertarians who are already on the Trump train. They want him to win, or they support him. I think you see lots of them. I think with Bobby Kennedy Jr. turning and becoming a Trump supporter, I think more and more people are moving towards the Trump train. So I think, to answer the question, I think some would. Would they take my policies? Damn, Keith, I hope so. I really wish they would take mine. I wish they would. As far as Democrats being okay, let me define okay. The Democratic Party, it's going to sound crazy for some people who are mad at me, may make people angry. They're not evil. They're apathetic. They just don't care. If the world burns, good. If I happen to help somebody, good. As long as I get mine. That's all they care about. Keep my power, get mine. If they happen to help somebody, Nice. They'll take credit for it. That's awesome. And if they don't, so what? I don't care. Now, with that in mind, there has to be chaos. There has to be chaos because how else can they validate taking away all your rights, Keith? They can't take your rights away if there's not chaos. Well, if you don't create chaos, I guess they'll create chaos. Someone's got to create chaos so they can take your rights away and make sure they keep getting all the cash and all the power, and you don't get in their way. That's what I think on both of those questions. Did I answer them effectively?
To do with the Dems, New York used to be known as the Empire State. You explained it thoroughly, but pushing it, I'm having a hard time, as many people do. Why would a party, the Democrats, just stand by and willingly and knowingly let a state as great as New York just go into true decline, into the dumpster? That's not the American way. That's not even the party of the old Democrats.
Agreed.
JFK and Henry Scoop Jackson there. What's going on with modern day Dems, commies, and everything that they are?
So let me touch this. Let me grab both of those. Number one, I think you're totally correct. Some of us who are old enough to remember the Democratic Party of the 70s, even 60s, 70s, even early 80s, maybe, nowhere near what this party is today. I completely agree. They were part of the hippies.
Peter, Tennessee.
Who didn't want the wars, who wanted to, free love. That's who they were. Those days are gone. They have become a party of the elite, and the elites don't care about the rest of us. And that's what's actually happened. And remember, the people at the top of, communism or socialism at the top, they don't believe in it. They use it as a tool to control others. Many of the average Americans do think communism does work or socialism does work. The leaders don't. They use it as a cudgel. That's why once they get into power, they do whatever. That's how that works. Thanks, Keith. I got to grab another call. I'm going to grab Peter. How are you?
I'm great, Larry.
He's from
How are
Tennessee.
you? Thanks for taking the call.
Of course. What's going on?
All right. Well,
Recently
I'm one of
moved
those
from
New
New York.
Yorkers. I never thought I'd leave. I'm recently retired, and I had 5 properties in New York. I sold 3 in 10 months.
Wow.
And I hightailed it out, and I'm loving every minute of it.
It's funny you say that. I was actually considering moving to Tennessee. I was thinking Chattanooga.
Love it.
I was thinking Chattanooga. It's like 2 hours from Atlanta, 2 hours from Nashville. I was considering it. I
got one better than you. Knoxville.
Okay. Knoxville.
The University of Tennessee has. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. My friend Kane, is the mayor over there. Absolutely.
Oh my God, this place has just developed, but it's wonderful development. 4-story buildings, 5-story buildings. I left White Plains. I grew up when the tallest building was like 10 stories.
Yes. Right.
Now they're opening 940 units in one building.
Yes.
I give up. I threw in a towel. I'm out of here.
You know what I got to tell you? My mother did the same thing, but she packed up and she moved to South Carolina. She couldn't afford to retire here in New York State.
Tennessee, the best. Don't tell anybody. No, it's wonderful here. I'm so happy. I tell my friends, everybody that visits is like, and the university, it's a wonderful university. It's better than any university in New York State.
No, I like it. Glenn Jacobs is your mayor over there. I had him on my show. He's a friend of mine. He's great. He's a libertarian.
Oh, is he? That's great.
Yes.
I'm not, I'm Republican by default,
I think a lot of people are. You're not alone with that, my friend. A lot of people are.
Yeah, things are good. And it's great talking with you. And I still have properties in New York, and it's such a shame.
Yes. Well, my friend, I'm up on a break. Thanks for the call. Well, that's someone who's left, and Keith, who's trying hard to stay. Keith's with me right now, trying to stay. I don't know if we're going to be able to run off to Tennessee or not. Should we? Let me know. 585-346-3000. Larry Sharpe, WYSL, Rochester, New York. Sharpe Radio. Back with your calls and more of your chat after the break.
These extreme conservatives who are right to life,
pro assault weapon, anti-gay, they have no place in the state of New York, because that's not who New Yorkers are.
God bless America.
WYSL.
AM 1040 Avon, Rochester, FM 92.1 Rochester, and FM 95.5 Spencerport.
Here's the latest forecast from the News 10 NBC Weather Center for tonight. We'll be looking at mainly clear skies. Could see a little fog redevelop once again, so we'll keep an eye out for that. Temps in the 50s on Wednesday.
How do you like that Cuomo
after
clip?
Any early fog burns off, another beautiful day.
Yep, thanks. Hey, and by the way, Bob Savage, our station owner, got his law degree at the University of Tennessee.
Should see temperatures getting back up into the 80s. I'm Rich Cornelia, WYSL.
The wait is over. See the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue at Ralph Honda. Exciting performance with sustainability. The Prologue makes your drive eco-responsible and effortless. Drive one today at Ralph Honda, West Ridge Road, and online at Ralph Honda.
Debunking advertising from the law office of Christopher Johnson. Get a load of some of those injury attorney TV ads. The insurance company only offered me $5,000. Big injury firm got me $4 million. And the paid actors you see look like they just stepped out of a fashion magazine. The truth, it is tragic, but nobody looks like a soap opera star who's brought an injury case where the award is $4 million. Those unfortunates have injuries that are permanent and debilitating. They'll need every dollar just to have some semblance of a normal life and take care of their families, often for decades. A serious injury isn't a game show where pretty people get big prizes. If you've gotten hurt in a car or on someone's premises, forget the actor portrayals and take the first step towards getting your life and your future back. Straight talk from Christopher Johnson, attorney. Car, truck, motorcycle accidents, personal injury, and DWI defense. Call 585-415-3803. 585-415-3803.
Hi, I'm Steve Tasker, and I want to share some great news. Heritage Christian Services is growing and hiring people to work alongside adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Over the years, my wife Sarah and I have supported Heritage Christian Services and the work that they do to advance an inclusive and equitable community. Their staff provides compassionate and dignified support every day as they enable others to achieve the things that matter the most to them. You'll find a rewarding job that works with your schedule, offers extra pay when you work weekends and overnights, and makes our community better. No experience is necessary to start in a direct support role either. Plus, Heritage Christian Services employees enjoy incredible benefits, including paid vacation, sick leave, health insurance, retirement plans, performance bonuses, and more. Staff members even have access to free success coaching to help them navigate personal challenges so they can feel their best at work. Join the Heritage Christian Services team today. Visit directsupport.org. That's directsupport.org.
Introducing a sobering and unavoidable truth. The latest advancements in artificial intelligence have made cyber attacks easier than ever before. Cyber criminals are relentlessly targeting your business right now, seeking the tiniest opening in your defenses to drain your accounts and steal sensitive data. Your finances and your customers' trust are on the line. Call the experts at Simple Tech Innovations now at 585-999-TECH to secure your business today. Don't wait until it's too late. Make the call today. 585-999-TECH.
Forget the fluff and silly stuff. Get the facts right now. Only on News 1040 AM.
Looking for a getaway that balances adventure and relaxation? Head to Destination Woodcliff, a hotel and spa for the perfect escape. Take a dip in indoor and outdoor pools or hit the greens at the 9-hole USGA-rated golf course. Explore hiking trails and outdoor activities. Afterwards, satisfy your taste buds and enjoy live music at Horizon's Modern Kitchen and Wine Bar. When the sun sets, make memories around the fire pit under the stars. Define your perfect balance of well-being at the Woodcliff Hotel and Spa. Book your getaway today at woodcliffhotelspa.com.
Live harness racing has returned to Batavia Downs for the summer of 2024.
We have Lorraine from
Sponsored
Rochester.
by Roswell Park Comprehensive Cancer Center.
She wants to
Join
talk
us
about election
inside our
fraud in New
clubhouse or
York.
watch that great harness racing trackside. Make a night of it by staying in our beautiful hotel. Plan your summer fun by checking out the full schedule at all of our events and hotel deals on BataviaDownsGaming.com. Dine, play, and stay at Batavia Downs.
Shopping online for a new car can be overwhelming. At Ralph Honda, we make it easy. With finance and lease options on every 2024 model and plenty of inventory to choose from, it's a great time to drive a new Honda. Come see for yourself. Ralph Honda on Westridge Road.
Sharpe Radio on the WYSL stations.
Oh, yes, it is Larry Sharpe, WYSL, Rochester, New York, Sharpe Radio, 585-346-3000. I've got a couple more calls I'm going to grab, but first, I want to grab just a couple of quick comments. That Liberty Lady says, hello, Larry, glad to hear you today. I'm back, rocking and rolling. John says, New York loves creating black markets so they can bust them and act like they're doing something. Yes. Oh, thank you. That is exactly correct. They make the problem, then try to fix the problem, don't really fix it, and then act like they're helping. 100%. Let me grab a call now if I could. I have Lorraine from Rochester. How are you, Lorraine?
Hey, Larry. Larry, I'm addressing voter fraud in New York and nysaudit.com or whatever it is. And I want to talk about that for a few sentences, but may I take advantage? Please indulge me. I'm 87. I went to Charlotte High School. I love the Regents. I love New York State. I'm an Eastman School graduate, and I don't want to leave my state. But
yes.
Okay. NYS audit is what I really called about. Okay, people, they found all kinds of fraud, actual and probable. And then when they went to the election board and the police and everybody, nothing happened. And then Letitia tried to stop their effort. I want to ask Lee Zelkin, if anybody's listening, ask Lee Zelkin, why didn't you pursue this? We need you. We don't need Hochul.
Okay. Let me touch a couple of these. Number one, it's Lee Zeldin, and he's part of the problem. In case you didn't know this, Lee Zeldin tried to get an independent line. And when he did so, he literally had his people photocopy 11,000 fake signatures. I'm not making that up. I'm not joking. You can check it. It's data. It's real. And he walked away from it. He didn't care. Zeldin never cared. The Republican Party, which is what I attack all the time here in this state, has surrendered anything statewide. I say all the time, there are wonderful local Republicans who win. If you have one locally who you love, please support them. At a statewide level, the New York State GOP surrendered years ago, and they still have. You're asking a very important question, Lorraine. You would think they'd be fighting it. They're not. There are people fighting right now for election laws, for election problems. Those people aren't Republicans. They're libertarians. Literally, right now, there are two cases, a federal and a state one, run by an amazing lawyer named Gary Denoyan. He ran my fights in 2022. Libertarians, and to give the Greens credit where credit is due, Greens also fight alongside of us. They don't raise as much money as we do, but yes, they do fight alongside of us. The third parties are the ones fighting. That's why I keep hooping and hollering about that. This is why I keep fighting. This is why I was very happy that RFK Jr. was trying to run in New York State, because he's also fighting. He's also making the same thing happen. The only people who care about the election in New York State, any statewide election, is third parties. It's libertarians, Greens, and right now the We the People Party, which Robert Kennedy Jr. is talking about. The third parties are what care. The Republicans in this state do not care. That's why I'm still doing it. If I run again in 2025 and 2026, I'll be fighting this battle. Why do you think I'm happy that they're sitting here giving ads during my show? Why do you think I've gone to their events? I'm with you, Lorraine. I'm one of the only ones fighting.
Thank you.
Yes, I completely agree. Lorraine's correct. And Lorraine doesn't want to leave. Neither do I. I have been tempted, as Peter was, by Tennessee. I've been tempted by New Hampshire. I've been tempted by North Carolina. I've been tempted. But for some crazy reason, I guess me and Lorraine are crazy. We just stay and we try to fight. So, Lorraine, you are correct. I agree with you. One of the best things we can do is show up to be a witness, show up to be an observer at the polling stations. As many as of you who can, please do that. That's important. So anyway, thank you for that call. Let me grab a couple more of these comments if I could. Alexa says, I had someone last night when I was on a rant about this issue. I think you mean the migrants and the store issues. It's obvious you watch Newsmax and Fox News. I don't know what Newsmax is. I don't watch Fox, and I heard the people suffering talk. No, I think the issue is, if you are the elite, this is what Keith was talking about. Keith's like, what happened to the Democratic Party? The Democratic Party is the party of the elites. The elites can just pack up and move. Many of them have multiple houses. They don't care. If my house here in New York is bad, I'll go to my house in Jersey, or my house in Connecticut, or my house in Florida. I'm fine. It's the average person that begins to suffer. And then they cry, what can I do? Well, in comes big government. I'll save you. And sadly, Alexa, a lot of people cannot imagine any other savior except government. They can't see it. So they fall back to that same thing. Yes. So thank you for saying that. I appreciate it. So Dave says, but Larry, aren't Republicans more worried about immigrants eating Mrs. Whiskers? This is my point about Republicans here, right? Republicans don't think they can fix anything. They have surrendered. And in New York State, it's basically true, right? They're not wrong. But it doesn't mean I don't surrender, and I'm in a way worse position than them. And I don't surrender. They have surrendered. So what are they going to do? They're going to talk about, for those who don't know, their stories about migrants eating pets. I don't know how true they are. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. I haven't done any details into them at all. But that's a story they're pushing. Because why, Dave? Because they can just yell Democrats bad, which is how it works. And that's a problem. So Mike Voss is here. How are you, Mike? Mike writes, illegal aliens destroy infrastructure, increase poverty, add to corruption. Close the bloody border is a simple solution, and politicians won't do it. In fact, suggest more. Insane. Here's the issue that a lot of people don't want to accept. Big business, big industry wants those migrants. They want them. And they control our government. We're getting them. I'm not saying you're wrong, Mike. I'm saying they're not closing the border. They're not. Will they make less? Sure, because now they have lots of cheap labor and chaos, which is the goal, right? So that's already happened. So might they try to close it now? Maybe for a little bit. But then once they need more labor, no, they'll open it again. And that's why both sides don't. Republicans have been better recently. But if you go back, I don't know, 20 years, 25 years in that area, Republicans were like, need more immigrants. And Democrats were like, build a wall. And then they swapped.
Dan.
Their donors swapped. If the donors swap, they do what the donors say. Republicans are much more today about individual donors than corporate donors. They still are corporate donors, but they're less of it than Democrats are now. So now Democrats are like, open a border. Oh, good. So they're following that. So let me grab one more call if I could. I'm sorry, who's this?
Dan.
Dan, how are you, sir?
Excellent. How you doing, Larry?
What's going on?
A couple of different things. You refer to the Democratic Party as the party of the elite, and it's a common mistake across the board to refer to these low-life, rich, ill-gotten gain characters as elite.
Ooh, I like that.
They're elitist. There's nothing elite about them other than their hypocrisy and crookedness.
So they're elitist, not elites.
Elitist, correct. Elite.
Okay.
Elite intimates that they're special, that they are, and there's something special about them. It's not in the way that it's meant to be used. Another thing, in regards to criticizing Kathy Hochul and Kamala Harris, Chuck Schumer, criticizing George Soros, for the things that he does, got Elon Musk roundly denigrated as an anti-Semite by the Anti-Defamation League until he threatened to sue them, and he's got the wherewithal to do that and hammer them.
I remember that, but the issue is though, I usually don't talk about those people because they're not elected officials, and I'm about elected officials. Does that make sense?
The people I mentioned are all Zionists. They're the people that are hammering this country, and they're roundly hammered by the right wing for being basically, according to the ADL, anti-Semites. Well, hammer me for being an anti-Semite for simply.
Well, I'm up on a break. I appreciate the call. I will cover what you said right after the break. I got to grab my break here. I will also talk to the chat and more calls. Larry Sharpe, Sharpe Radio, WYSL, Rochester, New York, 585-346-3000. Back to answer that question, plus your chat after the break.
Introducing a sobering and unavoidable truth. The latest advancements in artificial intelligence have made cyber attacks easier than ever before. Cyber criminals are relentlessly targeting your business right now, seeking the tiniest opening in your defenses to drain your accounts and steal sensitive data. Your finances and your customers' trust are on the line. Call the experts at Simple Tech Innovations now at 585-999-TECH to secure your business today. Don't wait until it's too late. Make the call today. 585-999-TECH. Baseball, hot dogs, and the American flag. They're all part of the rich fabric that makes our country great. Show your American spirit by purchasing your flag from the Stars and Stripes Flag Store today. When you do, you're supporting critically needed services for local veterans at the Veterans Outreach Center. Let's show our veterans that we care by placing our nation's symbol on the porch of every house in our community. The Stars and Stripes Flag Store, 783 South Avenue, Rochester, or visit eflagstore.com.
Avon Gun and Hunting Supply, a locally owned and operated gun shop here for your hunting needs. With changes in New York State laws, they'll work with you to fulfill your needs. Open from 10 a.m. Tuesday through Saturday, Avon Gun, East Main Street, next to Tompkins Community Bank.
Livingston County Pizza Company and Gluten-Free Bakery has a great deal on
We have
Tuesdays.
Roger.
A large 4-topping pizza for $18.
You're welcome.
Or gluten-free. Call 226-9575. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Livingston County Pizza Company and Gluten-Free Bakery in Avon.
Sharpe Radio on the WYSL stations.
Oh, yes. It is Larry Sharpe, WYSL, Rochester, New York. Sharpe Radio. So happy you're giving me a chunk of your afternoon. I want to answer Dan's question. I had to push him off because of the break. Sorry about that, Dan. And I also want to grab a couple of comments. Then I want to grab a call. So a lot of stuff going on. First, Dan, I think that a defense you'll find anybody who's angry will be you are some type of ist or phobe. So if I don't have an answer, I will call you a name. We call that often the one-word story. Oh, I can't listen to Dan. He's this. Whatever's the thing I want to call you. So now I don't listen to your argument. So it's very easy to call somebody that. The right used to do that. If you go back about 40 or 50 years, the right was much more that way. The right does it still, not as much. Now the left does it all the time. It is very common. Oh, I don't like what you're saying. You're a phobe or you're an ist, and you're dismissed. When it comes to Zionists, I got to tell you, Zionists aren't only in the Democratic Party. They're in the Republican Party too. They're all over. There are lots of people who feel that way. The issue is, why is America paying for everything? If you want to believe that, awesome. I'm not against you. You want to support? No issue. Why in the world, for example, why is Kathy Hochul packing up when New York's in trouble and visiting Israel? You're the governor of New York, not president of the United States, Secretary of State. Secretary of State's in Israel? I get it. President? I get it. Governor of New York? Why are you in Israel? You should be in New York City. You should be in Albany. You should be in Buffalo. What are you doing here? Anyway, I hope I answered your question at least. Let me, if I could, grab Roger. Roger, how are you, sir?
All right. What's going on, Larry?
What's going on?
So, Keith wants to know what happened to the Democrat Party. I'll tell you what happened to the Democrat Party. Bill Clinton happened to the Democrat Party.
Well, that's 90s, so maybe. Okay.
No. It's not a maybe. What happened was when he came, like in the early 90s when he was coming in, there was some deal that he made with the Koch brothers, formed the DLC, the Democrat Leadership Conference or something like that, or whatever the case was. And it was to embrace the boss class, the corporatists. And what happened was people was just like, yo, somebody asked them, but wait a minute, you're abandoning the unions, you're abandoning the blue collars and so on and so forth. Like, what are you doing? And his reaction was, well, where else they gonna go? Like, what, they gonna go Republican?
I remember that. Now, you know what? You just triggered my memory, Roger. I remember that.
Yeah, and then Chuck Schumer on the Rachel Maddow show like 8 years ago was just like, for every blue collar person that we lose, we gain 2 in the white collar suburbs. So this is what they do. They trade in one group for another. Okay, why do you think so many of us from the black community, especially the American freedmen community, are going independent? Most are leaving. Well, I wouldn't say most yet, but a good portion are leaving. Some are becoming Republican and others are becoming independent, like myself.
Yep.
Because the whole thing of, with you was talking about the migrant thing, they got this assumption that all these migrants are going to come in here and vote Democrat. Like, you don't know that.
You don't know that.
Assumption. So they're trying to trade one for the other. This is what they always do.
I like what you said, Roger. That's not bad. It's almost like most people think that it was kind of like the Nixonian era where the Republicans made a swap back in the 60s. And then now you're saying it's the Clinton era where the Democrats made a swap in the 90s. All right. I'm gonna keep it under advisement. That might be right.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Thanks for the call, Roger. So that's an interesting concept. I haven't thought of it that way. But when he just said that, I do remember that. That's a real thing. Schumer did say that, and so did Clinton. So now I'm thinking, maybe he's got something there. Okay, Roger. You got me thinking. Let me grab a couple more comments, if I could. A lot of you guys are. Morgan says, Dems love chaos because they can come in as saviors and push more government control. I think that's true. I think Republicans do it too. But right now, again, I think it's definitely more Democrats than Republicans. Republicans are trying to save us in their mind from government, but that's not always true. But yes, Raza says, Heritage Christian Services, is that the Project 2025 people? No, Heritage Christian Services is a sponsor here. The Project 25 people is the Heritage Foundation. They are two separate entities. They're not the same. So yes, they're two separate things. Daniel says, we're all moving toward the barter system to hide success. Yes, Daniel, and we shouldn't have to do that. You're right. And the barter system is in most cases the black market. Not always. You can barter in the regular market, you can. But most people, to your point, are trying to hide success and they're going to the black market. So the problem with that means, what happens when things don't go well? I can't call a cop. I can't use a court. Street justice. Right? That's the problem. Most people, no matter how libertarian you are, there's exceptions, obviously. No matter how small you might want government, you still want cops and courts. Even Ayn Rand wanted cops and courts, right? So we still want rules that we all abide by, right? As long as they're rules of here's how you interact with each other, agreements and contracts. This is, while I understand it, Daniel, it's not good for us. It's not good for us. Nicholas says, a few days ago on WYSL, a woman made a comment that perhaps we need to just let it all burn down and start anew. That was frightening to me because fire can burn out of control. You are correct, Nicholas. Many times people have told me, Larry, why are you still fighting? Let it go, right? Let it go. To your point, two parts to that. Number one, I agree with you, Nick. It's frightening. People shouldn't think that, but they do, right? I get why they do. But since they shouldn't, but they do, it means that our system is so broken. Our society is so scary. Our outlook is so concerning and so dark. They think the only answer is to burn it all down. That's on us. I'm actually not even saying she's wrong necessarily. I'm saying I don't want her to be right. Like I want her to be wrong. So that's why I'm sitting here yapping every Tuesday, trying to get people to say, there's hope. Don't burn it down. When Lorraine calls in and tells me I'm worried about the system, I say, yes, I'm with you. And that's why I'm happy they're a sponsor. And that's why I'm happy here yapping about it. That's why I keep fighting. That's why you hear me not just beat up Democrats. I beat up Republicans too, particularly in this state. They have surrendered. I want to be clear on this. There are many local Republicans who are wonderful. I'm talking about statewide. In a statewide selection, they have surrendered. It is frightening. I agree with you completely. Morgan says, controlled burns are necessary if you want to keep the trees healthy. Overgrowth in government is unhealthy. Nicely done. Morgan, nicely done. I agree. And I'm okay with a controlled burn. I think Nick would be too. I think his worry is burning out of control. And it's mine too. Because here's the problem. Even if you're fighting an oppressive government, if it burns out of control, you just replace oppressive government. The perfect example, I think, was Russia, right? Russia had the Tsar, and there was oppressive government, and they went, we're going to overthrow you. And they got communism. You know, I guess there's some, you got to kill the rich people, but that's about it. So let's control the burn. I think it's much better. Guys, I want to say thank you so much for giving me a chunk of your afternoon. Tonight is the debate. I hope you'll be watching it with me. We can talk about it later. I will see you all very soon.